Okay, we're trying to do some adjustment. Okay, I know that you are running for the country's highest seat, which is the presidency. And I'm sure you also agree with me that we have a lot of new um, um, uh, voters, young people who've registered, and they'll be voting the election come October. So, let's begin by you telling us who's Councillor Tiawan Gongloe so that the young people can know you a bit at least.
That's important. Councillor Gongloe is a lawyer, a teacher. I taught economics at Universal Liberia for about 8 years. I teach at the law school. I've been an advocate, a human rights advocate for a long time in my life, for more than 30 years. I've worked in government too. I went into government to see why it is so challenging for people to stick to the law and to discipline themselves, because we were in college and we used to criticize Tolba government. People used to say, you are just talking, when you get there, you do the same thing. You engage in corruption, you engage in abuse of office and all of that. And I thought there was something in government that makes you to be automatically abusive and corrupt. But I went to government and I found that people act deliberately. The government positions only just expose their true nature. There's nothing in government that makes anybody to be automatically corrupt.
Okay.
There's not a mosquito that bites you there to be corrupt. I've done well in the civil society. I've won so many human rights awards nationally, internationally. And I was in a government that I resigned from as minister. People fight to be ministers. They go to praying people. Some wicked people even engage in ritualistic killings to get those top positions. But I always consider my country and my conscience. And I'm too loyal to my country, my conscience, and to God. If I'm serving a position, I don't think that the people's interest is well being served, I leave. I didn't think that after over 300,000 people were killed in this country during the Civil War, that developed out of bad governance. Because SORBOR, our Civil War, not like in other countries, tribal differences or religious differences or regional differences, like Biafra War, all of that. But it was just bad governance that created mass disenchantment and people wanting quick solutions. We started with a coup, it didn't work, and people felt that taking arms and getting the other people out of power immediately would solve the problem.
Okay.
And that is why sometimes I tell people, don't engage in violence. Don't look for quick solution. Political violence does not solve any problem. It only delays the solution of a problem and of any political problem. And I've said to LPP partisans and my supporters that in this process, if anybody engages in violence and you're a LPP member, I recommend to the party chairman that you be expelled from our party
and prosecuted. And
I will make the Gongloe and Associates Law Office available to associate with the state to prosecute you.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be a beneficiary of anybody's violence.
Okay.
I don't want to be a beneficiary of breaking the law. And so I'm very clear. I hope that all political leaders will tell their partisans that we don't countenance this. In no uncertain terms, say clearly that we don't want to be beneficiaries of violence, because we suffer violence. We know violence in this country.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. I see you've already told the young people as to who Councillor Gongloe is. He's been a human rights advocate for quite a long time. But let's also remind them that Councillor Gongloe served in government, in the public service, and he took a decision once that in fact went viral when he resigned from his position. Then what really happened?
One of the things that I've kept Liberia behind for a long time is corruption. And my boss, I strongly believe, and it was in my 13-page press release that I issued that time, that you have to fight corruption in a straight way to teach other government officials that you don't accept corruption to any degree.
Okay.
So there were some people in the government, in the Unity Party government, in the first term, who were considered to be corrupt, but they were very close friends and associates of the president, and a president dismissed them outrightly. She had done a review of all the ministers. In fact, she forgot about me. I had to call the late Miss Cooper and say, "I'm a minister too." And then call me here when she said, I'm reviewing people on two things. Whether your hands are in a cookie jar
or no,
or whether you've done your PRS, the poverty reduction strategy projects. And from my record, you are clear. Your hand is not in a cookie jar, and you don't want a Ministry of Labor. She did the same thing to everybody. And following that, she said, I understand from one of the cabinet ministers at that time, she actually said she was firing all the cabinet ministers. But then she revised it to say that I'm sending all the cabinet ministers home and for 2 weeks compulsory leave. And those whom I will not call back, I will not be in my government anymore. So I thought that was a bad decision. She should have fired the people who were corrupt to clearly show the Liberian government that some people were serving properly in government and others were corrupt, and get rid of them, because she has said she has zero tolerance for corruption and all of that. So we were in Switzerland representing government, the Minister of Justice and myself, former Minister Christiana Tar, and we were just saved by the doubt that we had completed our presentation when that decision was made, because at an international conference, if your government fires you, you're on a stage, they can just come and call you backstage, right? And that's it. Fortunately, we have finished. It was even that reading the email, we got that information. I said, what? How could you make that kind of decision? Anyway, I wrote a 13-page press release that I read in the street at the Fola attire shop on Kerry Street. And then, it was a big thing. The young people were selling, or the photocopying was selling all in the street, $30 for Councilor Gongloe statement, all that. Anyway, I wanted to say, I don't want to be in this government anymore.
No, but let me ask you. Given your long experience in advocacy, and your records of pushing good governance and all of that, did you inquire from Madam Salif why she couldn't dismiss those people you deemed corrupt at the time?
I didn't inquire for her.
You didn't inquire for her.
I didn't.
Why?
I felt, I talked with Mrs. Salif. Our minister now.
Yeah, because you were you were close to Madam.
I was very close to her. I talked to her for a long time.
So why didn't you inquire from her? Why didn't you tell her, Madam President, I think I don't want to set a very bad precedent. We need to dismiss this people for corruption.
No, immediately. But the decision had already been made. I was in Switzerland.
Okay.
I told you, I was not here. That decision had been made. So when I came back, I was not in active service because I was on compulsory leave.
The question I ask you, Ms. Councillor Gongloe, you dated them being corrupt very long since before you even went to Switzerland, because you've been following their records. So why didn't you bring that to the attention of the president then?
We discussed it.
Okay, you're discussing. Okay, fine, that's the question I asked you.
We discussed it. One of the questions she asked me, and she said, okay, what I do in this review is you come, I review you, then after that you review me. And I was saying, for the record, since you asked the question, she said, so review me. Do you have anything with me? I said, I got a lot on you, but I will deal with 2 today. I said, the first thing I have on you is that there are people in this government who are very close to you, some of them related to you, that you brought into your government to help you to realize your vision for Liberia, to lay a firm foundation for good governance. But they are so corrupt, they are spoiling your name, they are not meeting their bargain. You have met your bargain as their friend, as their relative, and they came to government. Why are you wasting time when they are not meeting their bargain or serving your government well? Why don't you fire them? And as a teacher, I like to give sharp example. I say people down Watersa know very corrupt people, big people in your government who are extremely corrupt. But you suspended Swasi Genesis at the brand name I used. Swasi Genesis at Post and
Telecommunication, yeah, the assistant minister.
For, I think, selling electricity to neighbors of the postal ministry and not reporting or whatever, something like that.
Which was a man.
So I said that one, the people that are the corruption that people are talking about. They're talking about big people in government who are very close to you. And I said, boy, even down waters, I know that. She said, that's true.
She admitted to that.
Yes. And she said, next week, I will get rid of one of them. Then I said, my second issue with you. As your minister, I don't need to know. President's decisions are by surprise. I said, because I'm minister right now, I could go tell all the ministers that the president is about to fire somebody. And you know what will happen? The corrupt people who are ministers will say, but let me take my last eating here, and that will be affecting the country. Or, and then when I said, why do you come and say, I was so reshuffle my government? Don't say that. We don't need that notice. You just need to do it.
Okay.
Because when you say, I come in to reshuffle my government, you give at the press conference, the corrupt people then go take their last eating, or even people want to negotiate with ministries, we say, no, we're waiting for the next minister. So it will slow down your government. She agreed with me. So it was not long before she made that decision. So we had a discussion. The week after she fired the late Ambula Johnson, who was Minister of Internal Affairs. Right after that week, the next week she did that. So we had that discussion.
Okay.
So then, I really wanted to leave government. I said, but if I leave government now, somebody, George and others will say, but you knew you were not going to be called back anyway. So I waited, and I was called back, and I said, no.
I will go back. Okay. Now, let me also take you back, Councillor Gongloe, because we're trying to look into your files when you were in government for the sake of the young first-time voters, so that they can know who Councillor Gongloe is and why they should, in fact, vote for a man of such character, whatever it is. I can remember you came into the limelight again in prominence when, but this time around was not that positive for you when the whole issue of Angel Toba, was all in the media, and again there was this whole massive demonstration for you to step down. Did you do anything wrong at the time?
No, I strongly believe, and to the credit of the president, there were students that actually carried a petition to the president. Madam President, we are petitioning you to dismiss the Solicitor General because the name Tiawan as Gongloe is synonymous to evil. So my name became a synonym
to evil.
But, and she called me the next day, that afternoon. She said, hey, Liberian people, you mean you suffer for this country like this? You've been to jail many times? Because she used to say the government are for you and myself, because I wanted to all be to jail. You're all cowards. Say you've been to jail. And the people will say that as a Madam President, it doesn't bother me. We are public leaders. We came to lead the country. And the first casualty you suffer in public service is your good name. And if you don't want to suffer that, don't take public job. People say all kinds of things about it. So I don't worry about that. We need to lead. I'll still do my job. But I maintain my position that I was right. The police, the medical examiner that we paid had said nothing went wrong. You interviewed me, I gave you the papers and everything. And I don't know, the Solicitor General said no foul play, but other people have different views. They say they got on it. And people could have killed me, they could have stolen me. But okay, that's what you get in public service. I stood my ground because I'm a lawyer.
Like there was absolutely no foul play.
Yeah, I'm a lawyer. I learned it. I was appointed. In fact, I chose to be Solicitor General because Madam Celia offered me to go on the bench as Associate Justice. She offered me to be a Chief Legal Advisor. But I represented so many journalists when other Solicitor General were putting their underground jail at Justice Ministry and all that. I said, I want to be Solicitor General so I can be a gatekeeper so that people are not persecuted, but people are persecuted for committing crime. So then, here is what happened. The case went on. 7 years later, Supreme Court decided the case. And in that opinion, the Supreme Court actually wrote, I was no more in government then. The Solicitor General, Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, was right 7 years ago. So it was a waste of time. It was a waste of government resources. But they say, if you're a principled man, you stand for something, you remain standing up. If you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. I remain my position. And on that day, when the opinion was read, in fact, I went for the argument. And it was bad for the lawyers that argued the case that day because the one justice said, the Tiawan government case is that Angie Tuba was allegedly raped by Mr. Williams, and in the process, his wife came and choked her to death. And the jury, government lawyer, said yes. Then, was there any eyewitness? No. Was there fingerprint done? No. Since the jury of the case was that the girl was killed during sex when she was being raped, then was there DNA test done to see, whether it's sperm before? No. Why are you put here? The justice snapped. Oh, you think they play that place for magic? You don't have evidence, you come here? All right, let's see. And that's what the Supreme Court decided, that there was no evidence. So
to corroborate what he said,
there was no evidence to support the allegation. So I felt good about my public service at the
although you suffered the mass public condemnation at the time then.
Let me tell you one interesting story. The student who read the statement was my student in the law school. And he actually admitted when reading, we did an Andrew Tuba case in criminal law. So, both in criminal law, substantive criminal law, and procedural criminal law. He said, bro, I don't want to read the statement. I think we were in the 9th or 10th grade. And he was spokesperson for the Monterey, speaker for the Monterey Forum or something. I said, I think they call it Monterey Parliament Youth. So I said, you read that statement? Okay, so now you are in criminal law class. Let's read this case. He got convinced. He just got a master's degree. He said, I want to be Solicitor General one day. So he just returned.
Fast forward.
And then there was a the next year, there was another student. I thought she's in the law school still. She hasn't graduated. She said, brother, at my house, that we had a meeting to write the press release.
So they're all coming to you confessing now.
Yes. And I'm thankful to God because I've had a chance to see them. I didn't know the students were, but they have been my students.
Okay. So, Councillor Gongloe, I just sought to go back into, your files. I've been following you since, you started your advocacy and all of that. But you are opting for the country's highest seat, which is the presidency. Do you think
the first to interview me when I returned to this country?
Yes, I was the first to interview you. Now, do you think it would have been a bad decision if you had opted for the legislature and not the presidency?
Yes.
Why?
Because my experience in advocating in this country has shown that to transform this country, it has to be the president. Why? Because if you are in the Senate, for example, you are 1 among 30.
But you could lobby.
Then 99, you could lobby. But history has shown that most often strong advocates who go there become loners, both in the House and in the Senate.
They become what?
Loners.
Okay.
They are alone.
Okay.
They don't have.
Because they don't have the ability to lobby or what?
No, because people are settled, for example, in doing the wrong things. one person.
But I don't see Councillor Gongloe. If he had gone to the legislature, he would have started to do the wrong thing, especially a man who...
I would not have done the wrong thing. I'm saying then I would have been alone. My position, I would just be dissenting all the time, right?
Okay.
I'll be alone. Look, they let Williams from Robert G. County. What's his name?
He was Senator Williams. Yeah. Just forgetting his first name. Nathaniel Williams.
Nathaniel Williams. Yeah, Nathaniel. So he was advocating that when he goes to the Senate, he will go and change things. He will make sure there's no corruption there, all that. Two senators, one is there, one is alive now. They were talking to me and laughing, and he was my friend. So one day I was already out of government. The president, knowing my stance on corruption or against corruption, said to me, "Oh, your friend came here. He said you're going to change things. So I on one committee to pass one bill, one concession agreement, and then you were in the committee. So our envelope came. I divided the envelope. I jumped over him, and then on the other committee, my friend was there too. We jumped over him. So he called me and said, "But what kind of envelope you're dividing and you're jumping over me?" So he said, "But we want to protect your integrity because when you're outside there, you say you didn't want to be part of us. So we don't want you to be part of us." You see? So they were isolating him. And I don't know what the president was telling you. He said, "But you can bring my own to my office." He said, "No, we can eat it together. If you don't want to be part of us, we'll jump over you." So they take all those kinds of steps, right? So they were not coming his way. They were actually grouping and laughing at him, as the enemy.
So you think that would have happened to you as well, if you are going to the legislature?
I don't think I would have been effective, right? Because I would have been speaking out to the press all of the time. That would not have made me effective in terms of delivering the kind of change that I want to deliver to the country. And I'm a student of history. I actually wrote a professional piece in the Liberian Democracy Journal in 1999. Liberia's experience with separation of powers. It just shows how much presidents of Liberia historically had controlled the other two branches of government. You have to be a president who understands the importance of the two branches of government and treat them with respect. The power of the presidency. We copied the American system. In America, Thomas Jefferson and others actually sat down and wrote papers on how the three branches will operate. We didn't do that here. But look at the president. The president has the coercive power, the security forces, army, police, all under the president's direction. President has power of the press. The treasury is under the president. The other two branches of government are toothless bulldogs. They only become effective if you have a president who respects the Constitution. Because and the past presidents have used that power in a way that had made the other two branches to submit.
Okay.
And I want to change that.
You want to change that?
I want to be the president who will obey what the legislature says. I will govern by the law made by the legislature. If I don't like the law, I will prepare an amendment and lobby with them to amend it. But you take oath as president to obey the Constitution and statute laws of Liberia. But most often, the laws of this country are violated by the government itself. And especially the president.
We'll go deep into what you have on your plate as your manifesto for the people of Liberia. But since you announced your decision, your intention for the presidency, Councillor Gongloe, presidential candidate, I've been seeing this broom in your hands. In fact, at one point in time, I saw a video in which you went to the legislature and started sweeping, and people saw you around sweeping the grounds of the legislature. What does this broom, parading with a broom everywhere you go, what does it signify?
Let me tell you the history of the broom. 1979, the late Dr. Amos Sawyer decided to run to become city mayor of Monrovia against Chuchu Horton, who was Tree Party candidate. And the symbol of the campaign was a broom, that would sweep clean Monrovia, both in terms of administration and in terms of sanitation, all of that. So we were all going around with the broom, and we were students of Dr. Sawyer that time. Then later on in the mid-1980s, 1983, 84, we established the Liberian People's Party. And the symbol of the party we chose was the broom.
Was the broom.
Yeah. And so the motto of the party is honesty and unity for peace and progress. So honesty, integrity in government. But you cannot do it alone. So you see this broom, if you take one strand of the broom, it easily breaks. Together,
it
can break. So you need that unity and acting with honesty for peace and progress of Liberia. That is what,
because for the young people, especially people who haven't seen individuals working with broom in the society or in the streets, Councillor Gongloe will think that apparently the council is trying to just dramatize something here. I don't think he's realistic with what he wants to, what his message he's trying to put forth.
In fact, the broom has made me perhaps the most popular presidential candidate.
Yes, because when
everybody's calling me the broom man. The broom man.
Even the kids as well.
Right.
Even the smaller ones, in fact, the children, when they see you, they begin to laugh. Is it a way of
No, they don't laugh. They are happy. In Ganta, the other, I want to take pictures.
Because the reason why they laugh, Councillor Gongloe, to see a trained and experienced and a man with a lot of integrity, people will say, to see him with the broom, in fact, moving with it, powering with the broom and sweeping all around, it brings laughter to people.
No, it creates attention because it's strange. Strange things generate interest. Why this? Because it doesn't happen all the time. It's deliberate to call attention and explain. So I've explained to Al Jazeera different news.
Okay. So
even I carried this to America.
You carried the broom to America?
Oh, yeah, I went to the State Department with it. I said this broom.
You went to the State Department with the broom?
Yeah. I went everywhere with the broom. I stood by.
And did they ask you why would they bring broom in the State Department?
I said, one of the things on my agenda is to combat corruption. To have a clean government, to punish anybody who engages in corruption.
Okay. Is corruption, Councillor Gongloe, the only meanings in public in governance? Is corruption the only problem? Is it the only challenge that leaders face, or are you just opting or focusing or emphasizing corruption when you get to state power?
It is a major obstacle to progress, to even unity, reconciliation of a country to move forward. If my stomach is full and you are hungry, two of us can have the same conversation. I'll be looking for coffee to drink or beer to drink while you'll be looking for cassava to eat. We can't have the same conversation.
Because one would expect Councillor Gongloe, I'm coming, one would expect Councillor Gongloe to be talking about the improvement of the people's life, to be talking about the economy, to be talking about education, to be talking about road, connectivity out of that.
So you just started with.
So how are you going to use the broom now to improve all of those areas that I spoke about? You see your broom.
Very good question. My 10-point agenda for better Liberia is based on strengthening the rule of law, combating corruption. I actually have a 12-count prescription for combating corruption. I'm not one of those 12-count prescription for combating corruption that begins with putting the president's salary and benefits in the newspaper and on the internet, and the salary and benefits of all the three branches of government on the internet, in the major newspapers, and in cinema.
What's the rationale for that? Salary is private.
No, it's not private. Salaries are nothing about government official is private. Article 15C of the Constitution of Liberia says that the people of Liberia have a right to know about their government and its functionaries. How can the people who employ officials of government not know about their salary? So
you're going to publicize the salary of public officials?
If I appoint SORBOR George as my Minister of Information, for example, and his salary is not the whole salary and his asset declaration, everything, does not total 50,000. And in 3 months, the people in his community see him building 5-story building. And then the the code of conduct law says no government official from the president to any employee should receive a gift that is valued more than $250. So you can't say that your friend in Saudi Arabia sending you money. The people in your community will be beating drum before your door. You are a rogue because your pay, we know your pay can reach 50,000. How can you bill in 5-story billing? You can. So naming and shaming.
That's that count one.
Naming and shaming is the first thing.
You say you have 12 counts in dealing with the issue of corruption.
I'm not going to go all through. Right?
Yes, you can go. Just tell us a few of them.
Yeah, the other thing is we issue an executive order number 1 that will protect the police and the law enforcement officers in doing their work. That any minister in government that interferes with police operation will be dismissed immediately and charged with obstruction of government function. And then the same executive order for the judiciary to protect the independence of the judiciary. You cannot run a country, you cannot develop a country without rule of law. If you have the law enforcement functioning well, you have the judiciary functioning well, oh, believe me, local and international investors will invest a lot, and that will create jobs because they know that personal security and security of properties rights are all there protected by the rule of law. So I'm going to be a rule of law president. There's no question about that. And that
because it's your background.
They'll put everything in check. I don't joke with rule of law. So corruption is a crime. In fact, I consider it a crime against humanity because it creates mass hunger. It makes a lot of people not to have medicine, not to go to school, buy roads exist because of corruption, and food insecurity because of corruption. Everything that keeps the country behind is due to corruption. And so I will deal with that. And I'm not going to name all of the 12 counts, but here is what I want to do. It is because of corruption that we have all these secret killings, what they call a hardman business all over the country, simply because people want to come into government and they go to some crooked people who say the medicine man and say, if you bring me human being heart, you become minister. If you bring me human being liver, you become managing director. You bring me.
So how do you deal with that?
So when we wipe out corruption from government, so for example, I say I would do another count is I would do quarterly lifestyle audit. Every 3 months, the lifestyle of the president and the ministers in government will be audited. So
what do you mean?
So, for example, you're living in a 4-bedroom house that you build. You become minister in 3 months. You start billing 5-story billing. The auditor, your lifestyle, an auditor will come and ask you, minister, you're billing 5-story billing. Where did you get the money from? This is your salary. This is your asset declaration. Everything. You start scratching your head. You can't explain. The report is done. At the end of they will come to me too. I will submit myself to quarterly audit. So if I'm billing 10-story billing glaze up here, they will ask me to the president where you got that money from. But the report will be published for the public to see. And as soon as that report is published, I say, SORBOR George, you are billing this, you're fired. I send you over to the Library Anti-Corruption.
Will that include all of the 3 branches of government or just the executive?
The executive. Because
why we want to extend that to the legislature and the judiciary?
We will to be impeached, right? You can't just fire them. So, but if they commit crime, nothing stops them from being prosecuted. All right? You saw me when I was Solicitor General prosecuted a sitting senator, so there's no question. But we will impeach to get them out of government. They have to be impeached. So we'll put it there that will enact a law for immediate impeachment of people who are found in this category. But listen, so then you are sent to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission. A lot of the corruption in this country comes from the executive branch of government because they are the one that execute the budget. So then when you are found guilty, you go to jail for 5 to 10 years. The balance of the money will be taken to you from you through the course of law. Legally confiscated from you, the houses, the cars, everything you bought, we take them from you. And everywhere I've gone through in the country, in 330 towns, I ask them, you think if 5 ministers are in jail for 5 to 10 years, and everything is taken from them, and the family members suffering. Any more minister will want to steal? The answer usually is no. Then I said, then we have served corruption.
Your intention, Councillor Gongloe, is to run a government, a corruption-free government. But why can't the voters looking at the left style, the performance of Councillor Gongloe in government, his advocacy, to really point to the fact that yes, indeed, if he's elected, he's truly going to run a government? Because people say these things, they do something different.
I'll repeat the challenge I put on the radio many times. I challenge anybody this morning, from Cape Man to Cape Amos, to say when Councillor Gongloe served in government, he took 1 cent from government. I throw that challenge. And if you have some, you can bring it up. So you can.
Although you are given monies though in private, not in public. Apparently, there's no document to that effect.
No, nobody. Look, let me tell you.
Have you now gone to former President Sharif to give you something, maybe to buy gas and all of that?
Not that I remember.
Serving in your capacity as a lawyer, nobody gave you gas money?
No.
Didn't you ask for gas money before?
No.
Nope.
No.
Maybe you say no because it's not documented.
No, let me say this. President Sharif, one time, I said that additional pay. She has so many speeches to write, right? So, Maurice Duclay, Minister of State, asked many ministers, different point in government.
Because I can remember you're receiving persecution funds, Councillor Gongloe. You were.
Yeah.
Are you going to say no?
But persecution, I don't want to distribute prosecution fund now.
They were, yes, but you were distributing, and both of those funds. I mean, the documentation for them, and you were overseeing persecution funds.
Look, you're trying to make well, I didn't draw water when it's not even raining. There's nothing you can't. Look, you can't. My integrity.
So how did you expend the persecution funds at the time?
Let me
Councillor Gongloe.
Prosecution fund was expended and documented. The auditor administration of the comptroller, you can either.
How much you were receiving at the time?
I don't remember, but I
Councillor Gongloe, you don't remember how much you're receiving from the persecution funds? Yeah, you are promising to run a free, a government, a corruption-free government.
Listen, every money, in fact, the prosecution fund was not for me.
You were overseeing it. You were distributing prosecution funds.
I used to send it to the county attorneys. They would come and sign for.
So how much were you receiving then?
How much I was receiving as prosecution fund?
As Solicitor General, you are receiving yours as well.
No,
because you're going to court, you are not going to court just on empty vehicle, no gas and all of that. So how much were you receiving?
I used to go to the court at the Supreme Court. I supervised the county attorneys once in a while. Hey, for Ministry of, I had gas slips. They used to give me gas slips. The government gave me gas slips.
What's the quantity of that?
I don't remember.
But apart from the gas slip, Councillor Gongloe, I'm trying to set a record straight here. You said you haven't received anything from anybody from anywhere, but you are yet to tell us how much you were receiving then as your prosecution fund, because you were receiving that, which you admitted to.
Oh, prosecution fund. I advocated for prosecution fund for all the county attorneys. The county attorney.
How much were you receiving, Councillor Gongloe, presidential candidate?
I will not remember.
Why you tell on this one?
No, because you see, the way I operated my office, there were finance people there when I'm going to.
So if they brought yours in the envelope, you didn't know how much it was?
Envelope. They didn't bring in the envelope.
Why did they bring it? Was it open? Did your finance man just open the money and give it to you?
Let me tell you something. The minute you're trying to get to.
What is it I'm trying to do again? Yeah. I'm asking my question.
I'm saying.
Well, they're friendly on
dignified. No, I'm saying I received prosecution funds.
How much is it that you received then?
I do not remember at this point.
Okay, now what sets Councillor Gongloe? I'll be opening the lines very shortly. What sets Councillor Gongloe apart from? What sets you apart from all presidential candidates? We have Ambassador Joseph Maboka, we have Cummings and Sarah Yanti, and the rest of them that I can just yesterday I conducted an interview with Allen Brown Jr. and the rest of them, including President George Weah. What sets you apart from them?
Well, I've been an advocate all my life, and I've been sacrificing for Liberia. And I can say that there's no one in this race who, prior to contesting, can say they've criticized any government from the three-party time to now, except for now everybody's criticizing George Weah. But there's no candidate in this race who has criticized any other government besides George Weah's government.
So what sets it apart?
It sets me apart because I've been standing up ever since 1978, for example. I went to jail, speaking against government as a student at the age of 22. And I've been speaking against the wrongs of Liberia ever since.
Okay.
So
you've been a strong advocate.
You were here, Honor Taylor, when I went to jail for defending people like you, journalists, in 2002. All right? So in terms of my views are written, established. They are written.
That sets it apart.
Yes, it sets me apart because it's not only now that I want to run that I have critical views. I've had critical views ever since standing up for the Liberian people. Nobody in this race is like that.
Are you certain to win the presidency? Or are you hoping to win?
Everybody who goes in the race wants to win.
Are you certain that you'll win, or are you hoping to win? That's the question I ask.
I'm certain to win.
You're certain to win.
Why? Because my credentials are known to the Liberian people. I've been an advocate for a long time.
That's why you are certain to win.
They were calling me a poor man's lawyer. And now, so they know me all over the country. Everywhere I've gone, you watch my video. Testimonies of what I've done, good things I've done for people. I've never gone anywhere in the 330 towns that I went to, and somebody said, "Oh, this man, this so and so and so." In fact, the other day there was an article written in the Lofa Eye, the Tiawan Gongloe I know, written by the director of public relations at the Ministry of Labor, and I said, "I wonder what did I do?" I read the paper and I felt very good about myself because it was telling me how business people used to bring rice, different things, Christmas time or 26th time, and I rejected different things he talk about that I don't remember anymore. Because a long time I left government.
Now,
right? So I'm saying, and then I keep doing things that other people have not done.
Okay.
I went to 330 towns, including the president's mother town in Riverside called Pakweta.
Just in recent time, you've been going there.
Yeah.
Since you started the campaign.
Okay. Yes, since I started going around, not the campaign.
Okay.
There was an outreach period telling people to register to vote and all that.
Okay.
I went all over the country encouraging people to register to vote. So,
and what the feedback that you receiving from
them? The feedback has been good. I got a call from Pakweta yesterday.
Okay.
Day before yesterday, I got a call from Grand Crew. There's a town called Belwan. The city mayor is a very good friend of mine. So I've gone around. And number two, I am a reconciler and unifier. There's no question about that. In Grand Judah, I deliberately represented 18 Grand Judahs in 2013 freely. And it came from all the districts in Grand Judah. Why did I do so? During the war, the Mana and Gyobo and the Crown people did bad things to each other. And when that opportunity came, I said, this is my opportunity to start the reconciliation process. I went and represented Ofori Dia, Nizi Bawe, and the rest of them for free for a period of 8 months. Because one in the case for like 4 months, there was a new trial, and we retried the case. I even went to the Supreme Court, defended them.
And you did that free of charge?
Free of charge.
Okay, now, finally, before I open the Lands Council of Gongloe.
But you didn't let me talk about the social services I want to provide.
You do that. Okay.
I'm talking about, let me say this, that once we are combating corruption, here is what I want to do. I want to provide free education from kindergarten to 12th grade.
Free
education. We want to eliminate illiteracy in 2 years. Here is how I would do it. By giving stipend to students from 12th grade, from 7th grade up the way to college to teach at least 10 illiterate people in their communities every day after school.
How are you going to get that money?
And then the money in the budget, I can tell you that. Money is in Liberia. Then free technical and vocational schools in the 15 counties. We want to have pregnant women, children under the age of 5, and all Liberians 65 years old get free medical treatment in all government hospitals and clinics. We want to mechanize rice production by giving machines to the farmers in the 15 countries through the farmers cooperatives. And then it will be loaned because Liberian people don't like free thing. We want to revive the Agriculture and Cooperative Development Bank and get it through that. And then we want to, maybe you don't know, but growing up in the interior, I saw that under Tubman, Talbot, and Doe, there were public works stations all over the country with yellow machines that used to maintain the roads all through. So the roads never cut off. For example, in 1979, I came from Kepamas. 7 o'clock, I took taxi, not jeep, in the morning on Water Street in Kepamas. And by 9 o'clock in the evening, I was in Monterey the same day. It doesn't happen these days. So these 4 major areas, I believe, will change Liberia's story for the better.
Now, so, assuming,
but you went to ask question about money. Money is here.
Now, I did ask you as to how will you generate the money.
Right. Money is there. But money, our budgeting is not done in a way that money is left for social services a lot. The agriculture budget is small. But we give big money to the lawmakers, to the people.
So you're going to slash that? That's one?
Oh, yeah, we'll slash it. You know what? Look at it right now. You would tell me whether it's right or wrong. This is a begging nation. Last year, our president pro tem earned a total salary of $254,000 United States dollars. I checked America, the richest nation in the world. The president pro tem of the United States Senate earned $193,000, which means our president pro tem made more than 60 the salary of the president pro tem of the United States. I say, how can we be the 10th poorest country in the world and get any official government in Liberia to make higher than any official government in the United States? So it means I'm saying we have to do budgeting differently.
Now, assuming that you went to the presidency, October 10th came and we all went to cast our ballots. Unfortunately, during the evening hours, when or after the official announcement by the National Elections Commission, Tiawan Gongloe didn't make it at all. What will be your next? What will be your recourse?
I'm a lawyer. I teach in the law school. I already got a job. I'll continue to do that, and I'll continue to be a leader outside government because I'm a leader outside government.
If you were offered a job by the winner, will you take it?
Which job?
Maybe to go on the Supreme Court bench.
You know my age? The Supreme Court bench, by the age of 70, you are out.
To serve as an advisor to the president?
I'm 67 years old.
Let's leave that. To serve as an advisor.
I don't know who will be president. And
the winner, then. Let's put it that way.
And I have to respect you to be your advisor. Your principles have to be consistent with mine. Because I told you from the beginning that I'm loyal to my conscience.
So you reject whatever the offer that will come your way?
I don't need, I've said to Liberian people, you know, I always say that people should stop being, just circulating. You know, some people have been minister in like 3-4 governments. I don't want that. I've been minister, I've served as deputy minister.
So you disrespect the president then?
No, not disrespect. That offer to refuse job from the president, not disrespect. I resign from government, and not disrespect to the president. President Saliva and I are very good friends. In fact, we met the other day, we took picture because we are intellectual.
We are putting your hands.
Disagree. Yeah.
Okay.
No, we disagree.
Okay, so let's open the lines quickly. 0776-540-987, or better still, 0880-514-096. That's the numbers to call, and you are live on the SMS this morning. Our guest here is Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. Councillor Gongloe is a presidential candidate, so you can put a call on 0776-540-987. This is an alternative line, or better still, 0880-514-096. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Quickly.
Thank you. Let me say good morning to Honorable Gongloe. William W. Propos defender, Johnny from Cllr. This man is a good man. He helped our way Grandian one for EJ. But someone for now 2023, I think Honorable Gongloe will for 2029. Because President Weah is the man everybody I got in Labro is carrying.
Okay.
That is bad man. Your only thing you get is good. But now 2023 is for President Weah. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Let's take this caller. Good morning. Good morning.
Soba, how you doing?
I'm okay, sir.
Steven Zon, Zulu West Case.
Let's hear from you.
Let me say hats out to our poor man lawyer.
Thank you.
My concern have been drawn to the decision made by the banks on behalf of Gongloe that was betrayed by Prince Johnson. If you can retrospect, it was calculated that his sister had been a contender in Nima County. The woman who almost defeat Jeremiah Kung, and by the instrumentality of them popularity, he was helped. The decision came about that Prince Johnson is now willing to go in a race with Edith. So until Prince Johnson can support Mr. Gongloe, then Edith will go in a race. It was agreed upon that Edith will step back just for Prince Johnson to support Gongloe in the election for his presidential bid. Now see the same Prince Johnson now is pledging his support to Bouaka. How can you reconcile that decision? Thank you.
Okay, your response to that. He's taking note. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah. Good morning, people.
Yes, sir.
I'm seeing a luscious God news this morning. I call from the comrades of Land Ujinangwe for the re-elections of President Weah comes October 10. Queensway 2023, Party where I serve as the National Secretary for Media and Public Relations. I listen to our presidential candidate, Mr. Gongloe. I think he had visions, but we still believe in the political orientation of our developmental-oriented President George Weah. So we are electing him comes October 10. And please, presidential candidate Gongloe, please tell Salvador George and the public, because we are listening. The money you are taking for the when you are Toledo General, he asks you a question and you tell us that you can't remember. Even if you father, you can't say that you can't remember. Please answer that. Thank you.
Okay, medicine. Let me take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ma.
My name is Ninian Swakwari, calling from Tiawan, Partnersville.
Let's hear from you.
Okay, first I want to congratulate the councillor. He's a great man, a man of honor, a man of very good reputation who got to see people like Councillor Gongloe in his country. I wish Councillor Gongloe good luck and I love his broom. I wish him good luck in his dream.
Okay.
Thank you.
Many thanks. This caller. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, the same as this caller is not ready. Let me take this other caller. Let me take this caller quickly. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Yes, sir.
This is Michael and I'm calling from Gongloe.
Let's hear from you.
I'd like to tell the councillor thank you so much. I like all that he has on his plate. I appreciate it a lot. But the only problem I was in the last question you asked me if he shall concede. Will he accept any job for anybody who wins and he says he doesn't need to accept? So it means that only the president, he can't do no other work for the Liberian people. That's my question. Thank you.
Many thanks. Let me take this other caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is Emmanuel Thompson calling from Grand Gillette, Weekly South Treasury.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, thank you for your speaker there this morning. I appreciate it for the maturity of politics. One of the reasons I appreciate it, always when going through, always monitoring, when going through, you may discuss about yourself, you may discuss about things that you do tomorrow when you're pregnant. When you not criticize the other people that are irritated, like one of the maturity that I see you, and you have good platform. So we pray it out to them, we need them in the community, we need them in Liberia. So we pray for God to bless him, but Atanka, you win, but now they can come in 10, Atanka will support him.
Okay, many thanks. Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning, sir. I'm okay.
Good morning, the councillor. Well, this is Aaron Zane from Lima. My question to the council. Council, how do you see a great candidate that we found, you myself found, to have a senator against our form to go in, go deep, to go sell a neighboring country? But we see our brothers and sisters running in that country say they are godfathers. How do you feel about that? Huh?
Okay, many thanks. Let me take this caller. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, this caller is off. Let's take this one. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning to the councillor.
Money.
I call from Kagata. My name is Aloysius Yao. Councillor, thank you so well, and you spoke so soundly. In my mind, the symbol you're using on your logo, that broom, it symbolizes, cleanness, especially those who appear to public service. As our leader today, we believe that public service is a place of benefiting, which is very wrong.
Hello? He's off the air. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, Super George. Good morning to your studio guest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good morning, Super George.
Yes, go right ahead quickly.
Good morning to your studio guest. I'm Sylvester S.P. Laker. I joined you from Gongloe County this morning. And I just want to say many thanks to your studio guest this morning, Tiawan Gongloe. People of Gongloe are listening to you, and thank you for your work, and thank you for your work that you have done in the past to the people of Gongloe. And it's remarkable in our history. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Let me take this call. I'll take 3 more calls and then wrap it up. Good morning. Yes, good morning, sir.
Morning, SORBOR.
Yes, sir.
I listened to the Land Council extensively.
Your name?
My name is Roger Kennedy. I go from District Number 5.
Okay.
My concern has to do with the question you asked the councillor. If there will be second round, what will be his next action? What is the United Party or the PDP? The Land Council could address that question. Please let me address that question.
Okay. Let me take this call quickly. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is Gabriel B. calling from David Intan Popoya District.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to tell the honorable man, thank you very much for his exposé. Most of us in Liberia, we don't really look at what the man or the person will try to do for us. More especially when it comes to the platform, we can read the real platform of those politicians. But what the old man is saying over there, I think he's right. Because there are other things in the country that we need to benefit, but those who in power, they just squandering everything for themselves. So I think this woman is a representative for this country, and we will support him this particular election. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Many thanks. Let me take this last one. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, it seems that the last call is not there. Let me go back to my studio guest to respond to some of those concerns, and then we'll take leave of him. Let me take this last one, please. Quickly. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. This is SORBOR from Southern County.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead.
Very applaud the still guest, Mr. Gongloe, Honorable Gongloe, that he information to the best of the Liberian people. But let me ask you one of the good questions of the South County regarding. One is that the aspiring within Liberia, they cannot, establish themselves in the two-party system. Whether he rejected the two-party system in Liberia, that's my question.
Many thanks. Squeeze this one in quickly. Squeeze this one in. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Councillor Gongloe, you can respond to this question quickly.
Two-party system. Most of the countries here that have two parties don't have a law on two-party system. America, for example, has so many parties, including a Communist Party, a Green Party, different parties. But over the years, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party have won many elections, and they have generations of people families that belong to those parties. So they have become the same thing in Sierra Leone. SFPP and APC have become the two leading parties, but there are many parties in Sierra Leone. Ghana is developing NDC and MPP developing Ghana. And I think Nigeria, APC and PDP. So, but there are other parties. After maybe 50 years of elections in Liberia, there might become two leading parties. So they come gradually. The other question somebody asked about, why I wouldn't take position? I'm almost 70 years old. I've been executive assistant to the president. I worked in a mansion before. That's why when President Salif offered me to be her chief legal advisor, I said, I worked in that place 4 years. I'm not interested in going to work there again. Then I worked as a deputy minister, solicitor general. Then I served in the cabinet. So there are only two places. And then she offered me to be on the Supreme Court bench. And I didn't want to go there. So the only place that remain in the legislature. And so somebody asking me, you asked the question, be advisor to the president. I said, I've been there before. I was like chief advisor to the president, so I was right there. So I'm not interested, and I'm right not to want to be there.
Sure.
But I can be also, and the government can ask me to do this and I do it. I resigned from President Salif government, but she set up a committee to investigate the GW Gibson and police fracas. And I said, national duty, I went and did it and got out. I helped to draft several laws. Even the local government act, the Governors Commission asked me to offer legal service. I did. The recent act on revenue sharing law. So you can be also, you don't have to have government position, but you can serve government.
Okay.
There are people from outside. The young man asked about the prosecution fund business. Look, the place I'm sitting, I left the Ministry of Justice 2009. I don't even remember the last salary I made until I go back to it.
So you can remember the prosecution funds in a way.
I can't.
Okay.
I know I used to give $500 to the smaller counties, $1,000 to Monserrado every prosecution period, every 4 months. And then,
But you can't remember how much you used to receive.
How much I received? Solicitor General received the prosecution fund that came. I distributed to the county because I was just sitting there.
Okay.
I didn't need gas slip.
Okay.
The prosecution fund I meant for people to go to far away places to collect witnesses, for example, to do so. If there was a special thing like $500 to give to the medical examiner, the request is made to the comptroller, and the person goes and get a check there. I will not play with money.
Okay, so your parting comments, quickly. Parting comments.
My parting comment is, first, I call on all Liberians not to stop engaging in violence. We want a violence-free election. And two, people should not vote for bags of rice, money, liquor, election time, scholarship, and other things. They should check. This election should be about message and not money. Message of the contenders for legislative posts, for presidential posts, and the track record of those people who won these positions.
Many thanks, Councillor Tiawan, Gongloe presidential candidate. We really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Okay. What on behalf of my indefatigable, illustrious and hardworking producer, the man Melvin Stewart, Yasa Zuba was behind the camera, likewise Damawa as well, SORBOR George is my name. There's no second chance for first impression. Have a pleasant time.